What's up, everybody? This is Alex Christoforou with the Duran, and I'm here with Alexander Mercouris, editor-in-chief of the Duran. And today we're going to be taking a look at FBI General Counsel James Baker's thoughts that Hillary Clinton should have been prosecuted. Right, Alexander, we have another explosive story from John Solomon on the Hill, and Solomon details how James Baker, who's the top lawyer, was the top lawyer of the FBI, actually, when he got all the information as to what Hillary Clinton was doing with her email, the email server, the classified documents, actually thought that Hillary Clinton should have been prosecuted. And it wasn't until the very, very last minute that James Comey and the other FBI officials convinced Baker not to follow through on a prosecution of Hillary Clinton. This hasn't been made public either. And Solomon has seen the documents, so he got a look at them, and he chronicles them in his article. We'll put a link in that article in the description down below as well. Take us a little further into what Solomon says and what this means.
I think this is huge, actually, because I think the most important thing to understand is that Russiagate and Hillarygate are actually two sides of the same coin, because the same people were involved in both within the FBI. The same people who were going around pushing these phony investigations of Donald Trump and his campaign, implying that Donald Trump was some kind of Russian agent or Russian candidate, or all that nonsense that we've talked about, were the same people who decided that there was no case against Hillary Clinton. Now, I have to say, and I'm going to refer back to an article that we've referred to many times in our programs, which I wrote just before the election, in which I spoke about how Hillary Clinton had planted a bomb on the US democracy. And one of the points I made in that article is that I looked at the relevant law, which is the law that she should have been prosecuted on, over the fact that she used her own private server to send classified emails while she was Secretary of State. And it seemed to me that not only was the crime definitely committed, but that this argument about intent that is being made, which was the one that Comey made to excuse her, simply doesn't add up. It doesn't make any kind of sense at all. What we now know is that the FBI's own counsel, their own top lawyer, Baker, thought the same. And we also know, because none other than Rod Rosenstein has told us, that in fact the decision not to prosecute her, which was taken by James Comey, not by the Justice Department, was a violation of the rules. Now, this is extraordinary stuff, because it shows that there was a gang of people within the FBI, James Comey, McCabe, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, no doubt lots of others, who were doing everything they possibly could to protect Hillary Clinton from prosecution, going against the advice of the FBI's own lawyers, and at the same time doing everything they could to proceed with an investigation of Donald Trump on some imaginary crime, despite the fact that there was no evidence behind it. Now, if I was an American, I would be very concerned about this. And I think that these people should face investigation and possible prosecution, because it looks to me now like a plot.
Yeah, two-tier justice system, that's for sure. Let me read you what Solomon says here in his article. And we said earlier in the show that this was actually obtained via the testimony that Baker gave to the House last year during the investigation, and it was not publicly released, but Solomon did see the transcript, and here's what happened. And I quote, "During questioning by Representative John Ratcliffe, Republican from Texas, Baker was unequivocal about his early view that Clinton should face criminal charges. Quote, I have reason to believe that you originally believed it was appropriate to charge Hillary Clinton with regard to violations of law, various laws with regard to mishandling of classified information. Is that accurate? Ratcliffe, a former federal prosecutor, asked Baker. Baker paused to gain his lawyer's permission to respond and then answered yes. This is admission that Hillary Clinton committed crimes as per the FBI's chief general counsel, correct?
Well, that's right. I mean, this is exactly the point. I mean, I come back to what I've often said about Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State of the United States. She's also a highly trained and very experienced lawyer. She should know better than almost anyone what the protocols for handling classified information are. She disregarded those protocols in breach of the law. Obviously, there is a case there to answer, and obviously there is a grounds, I would have thought, to start criminal proceedings against her. It wasn't done, and it wasn't done against, it now appears, the opinions of the FBI's most senior lawyer, and as it was who was persuaded to change his mind by the same group of people who were at the same time obsessed with investigating Donald Trump. And can I say, they are the same group of people, coming back to another story we've heard about where John Solomon has also been the lead reporter. They are the same people who put pressure on Rod Rosenstein to appoint Mueller after Comey was sacked. And they are the same people, including Rosenstein, who were plotting or scheming to remove Trump from the presidency by invoking the 25th Amendment. Now, I mean, this is awful stuff. This is explosive stuff, and it needs to be looked into, because it is quite clear to me that there is a group of people within the FBI and possibly within the Justice Department also, but certainly within the FBI, who were plotting to protect Hillary Clinton and to make her president of the United States, in spite of the fact that she was prima facie guilty of committing serious federal crimes.
And in the thick of all of this is James Comey. James Comey appears to be, going by Solomon's article, what I inferred is that James Comey was the person that convinced Baker to back off. James Comey was the person that softened the wording as to Hillary Clinton's activities. And he seems to be, along with Rosenstein, they seem to be like the tip of the spear when it comes to this whole Russiagate scandal.
And you forgot to mention that James Comey was the person who usurped the functions of the Justice Department, and very improperly stood up and made the decision by himself, which he had no right to make, that no prosecution against Hillary Clinton should be brought. So absolutely, it all comes back to James Comey. And it was James Comey who we also know, after he was sacked, campaigned for special counsel to be appointed to investigate Donald Trump. I mean, James Comey has played a very, very sinister and shabby role in this affair.
All right, let me read you the last two paragraphs of Solomon's piece and you can comment on them. What Baker's still secret testimony makes clear is that, incredibly, we still don't know the full story on how the Clinton email investigation ended and if anyone else disagreed with the outcome, even after congressional hearings and an inspector general's review. If there is still the stomach to resolve the lingering questions, then there are two likely candidates to take the lead: the new Attorney General, William Barr, and the new chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Senator Lindsey Graham. What do you make of that those last two paragraphs, Alex?
Well, I think Solomon is clearly waving a flag at Lindsey Graham and William Barr and saying to them, look, there is a cesspool of corruption and intrigue, because this is a kind of form of corruption within the FBI. And it needs to be investigated. I mean, if you remember a video we did back in the summer about Horowitz, the Inspector General, who basically was saying many of the same things. But now it's all coming together. If this does not merit serious investigation, I cannot think what is. If you're going to spend 2 years investigating Donald Trump and his campaign on something that is a total fiction, you must investigate the FBI and all these people, Comey, McCabe, all the others, Rosenstein himself, who's apparently leaving in March. You must investigate them about what went on, because this looks terrible. It looks like the FBI, or at least leading figures within the FBI, intervening directly in a presidential election by deciding that one person, Hillary Clinton, against whom there was prima facie evidence, strong prima facie evidence, that she had committed a crime, would not be prosecuted, and Donald Trump, against whom there was no evidence that he'd been committed a crime, should be investigated. I mean, if that is not a scandal, tell me what is.
He was investigated, spied on, surveilled, you name it.
Surveilled. We had all this extraordinary story about the Pfizer warrant, which was obtained, signed off by Rosenstein, approved by Comey on Carter Page, relying upon Christopher Steele's utterly phony dossier, with the FBI using all kinds of techniques to try and continue using Christopher Steele as an informer against its own protocols. You had people infiltrated into the Trump campaign. We know all about this Oxford professor who was brought in. We have this shady story about the Maltese professor, Professor Mifsud. With all this going on, and I come back, it was the same people. It's the same people who were protecting Hillary Clinton against the FBI, the advice of the FBI's lawyers. And it's the same people who are pursuing Donald Trump. And it is extremely bizarre.
And you have McCabe's admission that they were willing to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove Trump.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it comes back to what I said. The same people involved in that too.
Yeah. The same group, the same guys. All right, Alexander Mercouris, Editor-in-Chief of the Duran. Thank you very much, guys. If you like this video, click on that subscribe button down below and click on that notifications bell to get notifications every time we push out a new video. And visit the Duran shop, pick up a t-shirt, help support the Duran. In the description box down below, you will find links to our PayPal and Patreon pages. Please donate to the Duran. That really helps us out a lot. And you can get a copy of this video in audio format. Follow us on iTunes and SoundCloud as well. And don't forget, go to theduran.com and read all the links all the links to all the articles that Alexander reads. Alexander Mercouris, Editor-in-Chief of the Duran. Until next time, take care.